Hi there. For this video, we're stepping back into Star Wars, but we're going back 200 years before The Phantom Menace, and we're discussing Light of the Jedi, which is the first novel in the High Republic series. Now, this was the first Star Wars novel that I was interested in reading, but it's not the first one I read. The first one I read was Master and Apprentice, which I did a book review for. But this novel captured my interest in Star Wars when I was first seeking out Star Wars novels. And I'm so glad that I read this novel because it's absolutely fantastic and it's made me hungry to read the rest in this series. I just hope that I can get my hands on copies in the future. There are key elements to this novel that make it such an exciting experience. The plot, the battle scenes, the action, the characters, and I'll discuss 3 characters from this novel later in this video. But the whole cast of characters, even though they're not familiar to the casual Star Wars fan like myself, who have really only seen the movies and The Mandalorian and now read a few books, the characters are amazing. The writing style of this novel is also fantastic. Charles Soule has done a fantastic job in incorporating all the key elements of Star Wars is in the movies and TV shows. We've got drama, action, battle scenes, a bit of comedy, because Star Wars does love to add comedy into its TV shows and movies. All these elements are incorporated into this novel, Light of the Jedi, and it just made it a pleasure to read. I decided to put plot to the side for a moment and talk about those 3 characters that I mentioned before. The first character that I want to discuss is Marchion Ro, our villain. The best villain I think I've read in a year and a half. Charles Soule has done an amazing job of giving us the perfect person for a villain. From the description of clothing, to the personality, to motivations for actions, and those actions that ensue. It's 100% the perfect villain. I just hope that the other authors who are writing the novels in this series still capture the true essence that Charles Soule has done for Marchion Ro. The second and third favourite characters for me in this novel are both Jedis. The first is Ava Chris. Now, Ava Chris is special not just because she's a lead Jedi in the rescue mission and then also in the investigation and other parts of the novel. It's the way she encounters the Force that's so special. She hears the Force as music, and that's the first time I've seen this in anything to do with Star Wars. And she's very strong in the Force as well. She can sense the Force from far reaches of the galaxy, and that just proves to me how powerful and important Ava Chris is. The third of my favourite characters, and also the second Jedi in this novel, is Elza Mann. Now, Elza is special because he's so quirky and so confident and so willing to experiment and do different things with the Force. It just makes for one of the most interesting characters in this novel, and I'm really hoping Elza Mann is a standout in future novels in this series. Fingers crossed that does happen, because he's just an amazing character and made this such a pleasure to read. One of the standouts, I think, in this book. We've touched briefly on 3 characters that I thought were amazing in this novel. Now let's discuss the plot. I won't go too deeply into the plot because I want you to experience the novel as I did without really knowing anything about it. I'll just discuss high-level detail for you. The plot is in 3 sections. We have a rescue mission at the start, we have an investigation in the centre of the novel, and then we have a battle at the end. So it's 3 distinct stages. The timeline and the story arc does flow through quite cleanly through all 3 stages, but they are quite distinct. The overall story arc in this novel is about an accident in hyperspace. This accident is the key reason for the rescue mission. It is the key reason for the investigation, and it is the key reason for the battle at the end. What happens is bits and pieces of something, small objects, are flung out of hyperspace. They're flung out in different parts of the galaxy, which seem to all be in the outer rim. The challenge that this causes for the start of the novel, the rescue mission, is that pieces that are coming out of hyperspace, be they big, medium, or large, are threatening life. They're heading towards a planet, and this planet is important because its moons produce food for many, many planets in the outer rim. The rescue mission is the first third of the novel, and I just couldn't get enough of it. I wanted to read it without stopping. I wanted to find out what happened. I wanted to find out who lived, who died. Did they protect the planet? Did all the crazy schemes they put into place work? What's really fascinating about this first part of the novel is the Republic pilots are sometimes the ones leading the charge in the daring rescue missions. They're the ones that the Jedi have to trust. And that kind of skews the balance a bit. The Jedi are usually the ones in control and the people are following the Jedi. But in this part of the novel, it's the Jedi sometimes that have to let go of the reins and let the Republic lead the Jedi into success or failure. Part 2 of this novel is all about the investigation. What caused the accident in hyperspace? Was it just merely coincidence? Did somebody cause it? Or something? That fills the second third of this novel. And it's very fascinating because there are also key moments when hard decisions are made that affect many planets in the galaxy. I don't want to give any more details about part 2 away, because if I do that, I won't be surprised, because the surprises in part 2 lead on to part 3 and key surprises in part 3 as well. For part 3, I'll just say that it's a monumental battle scene. It's a battle between good and evil. In essence, that's what it is. The evil, while it's not as evil as the Sith in The Phantom Menace, etc., the evil is still powerful and still to be a force to be reckoned with. The battle itself goes on for many chapters and many pages, and it's fascinating and enthralling and totally engaging. You won't want to put it down. You want to shut yourself away in a room somewhere, turn off your phone, just be engrossed in that final battle scene. It's well worth it. And it's that battle scene at the end that just makes you want to read more in this series. And I really, really hope that every novel in this series is just as good as the first novel. So I hope this video has whet your appetite just enough to want to read this novel. I've tried not to give too much away. I hope I've given just enough away to make you interested. I'll be releasing a video about the second novel in this series as well. The second novel is a young adult novel. Now, when I read it, it did come across a little bit young adult, but not too much. And I found it absolutely fascinating, and it did also include one of my favourite characters, Marchian Ro. So please look forward to that video, and I'll be looking forward to more novels in this series.